This is my I read 9 books in April dance. I don't know why it looks like this, but it does. Hey guys, what's up? It's Diana and welcome to my April wrap-up. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. I read 9 books in April. Now mostly this was due to the fact that the owls were taking place and I desperately wanted to pass the owls and pursue my career. So my reading drive was way up. Way up. But I didn't think I would really get through all 9 books, so I am actually super proud of myself. Now, I had to read 8 books for my career, and I tacked on a 9th one because I wanted to get an outstanding in the owls. So let's not dally any longer, let's get into what I read. The first book I read was Cassandra Clare's and Holly Black's The Iron Trial. This is a middle grade series about a magical school. Sound familiar? Although it's not Harry Potter, there are echoes of it in here. Callum Hunt's father doesn't do magic. He is like a sorcerer magician person himself, and he is determined to keep his son as far away from it as possible. Unfortunately, any person from magical descent has to get tested, so Cal goes and gets tested, and lo and behold, he does have magic, and he's selected to take part in the magic school, the Magisterium. This pisses his father off immensely, but Cal actually kinda likes it. And he goes on to learn all about the magical world, his past, and just life in general. It's a quick read, it's cute, it's fun, I enjoyed it, and I gave it 3 stars. The second book I read in the month of April was o.w.l's Fangirl. This is a contemporary novel. It is hugely popular. It's about a girl named Kath who has a twin sister named Ren, and they go to college and life changes drastically for Kath, and she is not prepared for it. She has to get used to a new environment. She's got mad anxiety. Her sister is somewhat distancing herself from her and she doesn't really understand why. She's obsessed with Simon Snow and she writes fan fiction. It's very much a book about coming into your own, about balancing real life with fiction, and I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, I saw a lot of myself in this book and I think a lot of other people did as well. Anyway, if this sounds like your thing, I recommend it. I gave it 4 stars. The next book I read in April was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This is a classic that I had always intended on getting around to reading, and my boyfriend really loved it, so I promised him I would read it for the readathon. And I did! See, I keep my promises. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is not a non-stop thrill ride. It was not that fun for me to read, but I did really enjoy it. It's one of those books that really kind of makes you think as you're reading it and ask yourself questions that you normally wouldn't ask yourself. I found myself considering things that I hadn't really considered before, at least not since I studied literature in my undergrad and in my master's courses, which was actually kind of nice to get back to because I'm not used to looking at literature as critically as I used to do it when I was doing it for my educational career. I do think it's one of those books that you're either gonna love or hate, but I really enjoyed it and I gave it 4 stars. The next book I read in April was Axios' Rebel Soul. I actually don't know why more people don't talk about this book because it's Pacific Rim matched with K-dramas. Like, how awesome is that? It's about a guy named Lee Jae-won who is an exceptional military tactician. He is selected to work with Terra and observe and report her behavior. Terra is, I believe, an artificially enhanced human that the government is testing for military purposes. While this is happening, Jae-won gets the idea that maybe the military is not doing some awesome, super cool things. And he develops a pretty good relationship with Terra, so he is feeling all kinds of uncomfortable about this situation. I'm not going to say any more about it because I want you to experience it for yourself. I had a lot of fun with it and I gave it 4 stars. The next book I read in April was Sophie Jordan's Reign of Shadows. I was actually surprised by how much I liked this because I almost knew nothing going into it. This is about a world that is perpetually dark. There is about an hour of sunlight every day, and about a girl named Luna who lives in a tower in the woods. She is very much secreted and squirreled away and kept away from society, although there's a good reason for this. One day a boy wanders into the woods near the tower and she actually ends up saving him and his 2 companions. But unfortunately soon thereafter the tower is discovered and then they have to flee. The interesting thing about this book is that Luna herself is blind. You don't find this out until about the 2nd or 3rd chapter. I think it's supposed to be a twist, but I don't know how I feel about that being a twist, so I'm gonna tell you up front because it could be important to some people. But she's definitely a fighter. I mean, like a trained actual fighter, and she's badass. And she pretty much lives in a world of darkness, literally and figuratively. But she has heightened senses and a mysterious past, and she is definitely a formidable opponent for anyone that comes after her. I ended up liking this a lot more than I thought I would, but there's a lot of setup in it that I think will be continued on in the next book. I think it's duology. I do plan on reading the next book since I had such a good time with this one. I gave it 3 stars. The next book I read in April was Cindy Pond's Want. I loved this book. This book was so good. It takes place in a world with extreme economic disparity. The poor people are super poor and the rich people are super rich. And like any horrible capitalist society, the rich people are like, we're gonna develop a suit that will protect everyone from disease and germs and pollution, and we're gonna sell it at extremely high prices so that the people we don't want to survive will not be able to afford it, and the people we do will. This doesn't sit well with Jason, who is like, what the fuck, why do you hate poor people? So he infiltrates the world of the rich by posing as one of them and decides to expose the organization. Or at least the company designing the suits in an effort to start kind of an uprising to change the way things are. It's got got a great cast of side characters, it's interesting, it's high octane, it's fast paced, it's definitely a thriller. And luckily the sequel is already out, I have it on my bookshelf, and I plan on reading that this month because I just freaking loved the story. I gave it 5 stars. The next book I read in April was Brin The Heart Forger. I actually wasn't planning on reading this. This was a swap out. I was gonna read Wind Witch, but my friend Haston and I agreed to buddy read this ages ago. And when he was ready, he's like, I'm ready, are you? And I was like, no, not at all. But I will figure out a way to make it work. And I did. I swapped it out. The Bone Witch is one of my new all-time favorite YA series, and I was really excited to get back to the world. Basically, it is about a girl named Taya who accidentally raises her brother from the dead. In doing so, she reveals herself as an Asha. And Asha are super common, but the kind that she is not. She's a Bone Witch, and they specialize in kind of necromancy. And society kind of hates them, but they also kind of need them desperately. Because every X amount of years, these creatures called devas, which are like giant monsters, rise up from the earth, and the Bone Witch's job is sort of to put them back down using their powers. So Taya trains and learns her abilities to do this job. This is a sequel, so I won't say too much about this one specifically, but it definitely continues the adventures of the first, where Taya is learning how to control and use her abilities. She's finding that she has abilities that she had not accounted for and that nobody had really accounted for, and there's a lot of different prophecies tied to her. I love this cast of characters. They're amazing. They're wonderful. I love every single one of them, and there's some great representation in the side characters, and Taya herself is a fucking badass. And she's one of those heroines that is not always likable, but you're always kind of rooting for her. Anyway, I plan to finish the series this month with The Shadow Glass because I love it, love it, love it, love it. I also gave this 5 stars. P.S. Hi, Haston! The next book I read in April was Brittany Cavallero's A Question of Holmes. This is the last book in the Sherlock Holmes series, which I also love. It's a very different YA take on Sherlock Holmes, and I am totally here for it. Sherlock Holmes and Jamie Watson are back on their bullshit, and they're also trying to navigate their super complicated relationship. They're taking classes at a university, and of course that university has a mystery that needs to be solved. This book definitely focuses more on the relationship between Jamie and Charlotte than it does on the actual mystery, which is something I didn't love, but I still really love these two together. Their relationship dynamic is always interesting to me. I liked this novel. I wish I liked it a little bit more because I really, really love the series, but I gave it 3 stars. The last book I read in April was First Test by Tamora Pierce. Now, I have heard so much about this author. She is very beloved in the YA community. She is one of the founding fathers of fantasy fiction in the YA community, and everybody seems to really enjoy her. I'd only actually ever read one series by her. I think I read the Trickster's Queen, Trickster's Choice series, and I liked that, but I hadn't read anything since. I think I saw someone on Twitter recommend this book to someone, so I decided to make it part of my TBR for the owls. This is about a girl named Caladri who wants to train to be a knight. There recently was a proclamation that females could be knights, so she is like, sign me up, I want that battle life. And she does. Her mother is a warrior. She desperately wants to be a warrior. She wants to protect people and fight for the things she loves. It's a very noble cause. Unfortunately, the school she goes to do this is not really up on all that yay feminism stuff, and they pretty much haze her to the point where she starts to question whether or not she belongs there. Spoiler alert, she totally does. You want her on your team, guys. Basically, in an act of super unfairness, they put her on a probationary period, which the dudes don't have to go through, but she does, which is super unfair, thank you very much. Nonetheless, she sticks it out, and this is about her first year training to be a knight, and the friends she makes, and the enemies she makes, and the things that she faces. It was a super frustrating read because you hate everyone around her because they're such dicks, but I ended up really liking it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I do actually plan on continuing on with the series, but apparently there is a series that takes place prior to this whose characters kind of show up in it, so I want to read that one first. And those are all the books I read in April. It's totally fine if you're impressed. And I say this just because I only read one book in March, which is ridiculous for me. I don't think I've ever had that bad of a reading month since I was in grad school. So I'm feeling a little hell yeah you go girl about my April reading month. I didn't read anything outside of my TBR for the owls, which is sad, and right now I'm in the middle of the Sailor Moonathon, which takes place from the 1st of May to the 20th of May. I know, right? I'm jacked up on readathons. Although I am a bit stalled out at the moment, I really hope to get that drive back because I don't want to lose the momentum. But enough about me. What are you all up to? What did you read in April? What are you reading in May? What do you want to get around to reading this summer? Are you a beach reader or are you a not beach reader? Do you gravitate towards any particular Do you gravitate towards any particular drama? Why can I not speak words? Do you gravitate towards any particular genres in the summer? Let me know in the comments and we'll chat about it. Alright guys, it's that time again. Have a fantastic day and be excellent to each other. I will see you next time. Bye! Whoop! I almost just like tripped into the camera. So that says a lot about my coordination skills.